What's happening, folks? Hope you're all well. The video you're about to watch is the title track reaction from Boundary's brand new album, Yearning, the Unbeautiful After. Now, I was lucky enough to get this album a few days in advance, so I've already heard it, and I've been holding off on chatting about this because I haven't been able to. It's not been out for you guys. It's now finally here, and you guys are about to watch the reaction to the final song on the album, and then I've included the review after as well. Now, unfortunately, I was not able to get the full album reaction cleared. That is why you guys can only watch the actual singles. That's the only thing I can actually get done for this album. Anything on Sumerian, I can only get the singles cleared. So that is why you're not getting the full album reaction experience. However, it does exist on my Patreon. I had so much fun listening to this album. It was midnight by the time I finished up. I had a couple of beers. I was literally skedaddling around this room. I was jumping around, running into the kitchen. It was fucking great. I had so much fun. That whole video is on Patreon if you want to go check it out. Otherwise, enjoy the title track, Boundaries, Yearning, the Unbeautiful After, as well as the review that follows. Enjoy. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Cheers. Title track. I feel like this might be poetic as opposed to heavy.
Is this all there is?
Well, I'm wrong.
Set me free from desires and longing. They are beautiful laughter, always yearning. What if I only wanted? Because you told me I can. What if my passions were all passed out by other men? Is this all there is? Is this all there fucking is? What if this is the closest that I ever get? What would you have me do? There's nothing left to give, but there's everything to prove. What would you let me do? My soul exposed. When I'm owned by the world, the greatest lie I've ever told. No matter the amount, I can never be enough. Satisfaction unrecognized. I'm always gonna fuck it up. What if this is the closest that I ever get? What would you have me do? There's nothing left to give, but there's everything to prove. What would you have me do? My soul exposed. I got more than I ever studied. I put my faith in the world. So fucking heartless. Send me
Jesus.
from Yearning.
Are we going to get like a poetic narrated moment from Matt at the end?
The beautiful laughter. Everything to prove. What would you? If I'm chasing all the wrong things, who's gonna tell me? Everything to prove. What would you? Yearning, the unbeautiful after. What would you have me do? There's nothing left to give and everything to prove. What would you have me do? There's nothing left to give and everything to prove. What would you have me do? There's nothing left to give and everything to prove. What would you have me do? There's nothing left to give and everything to prove. What would you have me do? There's nothing left
Okay. The fade out. People are not going to be happy about that, but it is what it is. I feel like for something like that, that's like, feels like it will never end. Yeah. I think I can kind of appreciate a fade out when it's sounding like something that could just continue on into infinity. You know, that repetition, it kind of implies that that will go on forever. Lyrically, I can't keep up. It's too hard to hear with all the screaming. I can't wait to look at the lyrics of this. It will add so much more context. But yeah, the fade out there, I know a lot of people have like their, to be honest, I don't think I ever would have had a problem with a fade out unless I was told that there's people that have problems with fade outs. And I think that kind of becomes a thing. There's a lot of like Chinese whispers in metal and just cults in general, and like groups of people that like enjoy certain things, where it's kind of like old wives' tales, where like people will just say something once and then another person will catch on to it and be, good point. And then they'll say it, and then everyone just kind of assumes that it's a bad thing all the time because something's been said. I don't think fade outs are the worst thing in the world. I don't think there's really much of a problem with it if it makes sense. I can understand there's certain moments where it feels a little bit lazy, where it's like, oh, you've just kind of like given up on this and you've just like turned the volume down. But I think within the context of this song, that did feel like that was going to go on forever. And I think the fade out kind of implies that. So I can appreciate that. Let me go to the toilet and collect my thoughts, and we'll be right back. Okay. I've had a moment to decompress after that chaos. I don't even know how long that album was. I can quickly do some maths here, but like you guys will already know at this point, there's not much. I think it's probably around the 45-minute mark. It felt certainly longer than albums that they've done in the past with like 30 minutes or so. But I know the last one was like 40 minutes as well. So it's probably around the same run time. I did a lot of pausing. I did a lot of running around like a muppet. I did a lot of getting new beers. So it made the recording like an hour and fucking like 20 minutes. But I know the album was probably about 40 minutes, 3, 7. Let's do quick maths. 3, 4, 7, 10, 12, 14, 15, 18, 22, 26, 28, 31, 34, 37, roughly 39 to 40, 41, 42, 43 minutes. Which is pretty like standard. I think anything over that and you're really pushing it. With an album like this, though, I mean, that is pushing like a very long runtime with how intense that is, but I think they've pulled it off. For me, it's a really hard album to rate because I could definitely sit here and just say 90, 95 because of how much fun I had and how visceral some of the moments were. And you see me running around, I had so much fun. Subjectively, I had so much fun listening to this. Probably the most fun I've had listening to an album all year. Maybe even Arcadia by Sleep Token. I kind of forget that was that this year? Was that 2025? That was last year, right? That was last year. Sorry. That was not even this year. So this year, this is definitely the most fun I've had with an album, for sure. I've had the Carnival album, but that was kind of the opposite of fun. That was very heavy and emotional. Don Brocco's album was incredible, a lot of fun, but this was like a moment for me. I was so excited for this. A lot of the other albums kind of caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting them to be as amazing as they were. Whereas this one, I had so much fun because I was anticipating it and I was loving it. I was waiting for the build-up. I loved all the singles. I kept it up on top of it. And it definitely delivered. It certainly delivered, but I can't help but feel like it does lull and dry up a little bit after the Landon Tours feature, which takes a bit of the wind out of the sails, which is unfortunate. And I'm trying to be as objective as possible because I could, like I said, give this like a high 90s, like a mid 90s, a low 90s, like in the 90s, like album of the year. And I need more listens with it. And I'm sure over time, a lot of the songs will make sense and make more sense and get better. But I feel like having just recently listened to like their entire discography, it does feel like this is like the peak of what they're trying to achieve. And I think they've fucking nailed it. I think they've done such a good job with the heaviness. The call outs are so visceral and raw. There's obviously an emotional backing behind this that is built into the lyrics, which are a little bit hard to hear. And obviously on a first listen, I'm not delving too deep into that, which is kind of unfortunate, but it does make them void for now because I'm not too focused on it. But there is some call outs that are like, you cannot help but pay attention to because they're so in your face. And it's an isolated vocal line where you're like, okay, I can hear what he's saying. But a lot of it is probably lost because of all of the chaos that's going on instrumentally. So for me, I feel like they've peaked with that sound. They've peaked with like heaviness. They peaked with what they are capable of. And I've only listened to their recent stuff. And it feels like I only listened to Bury and Brightness, and I thought that was a good album, but it did feel like they were in that transitional period between like their really heavy shit and then bringing in the clean singing with the drummer. And I feel like now they've actually, like, again, with Death is Little More, with the last album, 2024, and then this album, they've actually fucking, like, they've started to peak with Death is Little More, and then they've gone, even in the description I read, the blurb at the start, where it basically said that this is like the most peak version that Boundaries have ever been at. And I completely agree. And I think the next step for them to have that like perfectly flawless album. And again, some people will think this is a flawless album, and that's completely fine. I can understand that. I think this is a flawless album in terms of how much fun I had with it. I had so much fun. But if I'm looking at it objectively, I personally think, from my own experience, that what could make the albums maybe feel a little bit less monotonous after a while, like after like 9 songs, is if there was something thematically to really tie onto. I know a lot of their music is built on the fact that it's like real life experiences and it's real human emotions. So there's only so much you can do in terms of like theme because it's based off of like grief and trauma. But having something that maybe ties everything together, and even like the lull moments, makes it feel like more of an album experience. Whereas I think I could have sworn I've seen it somewhere where maybe Matt in an interview mentioned that this is like a load of singles that are kind of like thrown together. Like we have 4 singles that were released and the rest is just like all singles, no interludes, which I fucking love. I love the fact that I've just had so much new music thrown my way, as opposed to like half of the album I've heard and half of it I haven't. I love that there was so much music there. But part of me does feel like the next step for Boundaries, in my very just like as a fan, not trying to like sway them in any way, of course, like they've fucking smashed this album, would be like maybe to lock into some kind of a theme or something like that, just to make it feel more coherent as a project and make it feel like there's more reason to stay tuned in, because otherwise it just kind of gets a bit monotonous after like 9 songs where you're like, okay, lads. And every song was hitting up until that 9 song track, that point. But when one song doesn't feel as impactful as some of the other ones and they start to sound the same, that's when you can kind of be like, I'm actually kind of losing interest here. Now, again, they picked it up with Only Endless and Yearning, the Unbeautiful after, which, again, I kind of predicted, but it's enough for it to like lose marks as an entire album experience. So I don't know how they write their songs and their albums. I don't know if they just write them song by song and then make it an album, or if they go in and like, we have a theme here, let's make this entire album. I think it is the prior. They kind of write singles and they throw them together and they like have some form of a consistent theme. But yeah, I mean, the singles are perfect for this rollout. I loved all the singles. I think they absolutely smashed it. Like when I actually look at this, they got enough hype built. They really built a lot of hype with this album. A lot of people were excited for this, including me, because of the singles. And they also left enough in there where it was still a really enjoyable album experience, like bounce around to. There's so many fucking moments. Again, I don't have them liked on Spotify, so it's harder to like keep up with like where my thoughts are at. Riffs, lyrics, from what I did here, vocal deliveries, the drumming, again, shout out to the drummer singing. I can't remember his name. Is it Luke? No, it's not Luke. Lee, maybe something? I don't know. It's irrelevant. Well, it is relevant, but it's irrelevant for his name right now. Incredible. They all fucking smashed it. This is such a fucking fun album. The classic sounding metalcore riffs, but also making the breakdowns and shit feel very, very modern was such a nice touch. Some great melodies in there. I think the best melodies do belong to the singles, which is again why I'm commending them for picking the right singles, because they really smashed it with that. And yeah, that was so much fun. I'm a bit all over the place right now. It's past midnight. I've had a few beers. I've thoroughly enjoyed myself listening to that. I don't know if this is a good review or not. I'll give this an 85 out of 100. I've thought about this. I'm going to start with an 85. It might come down. It might go up. I can't rate it on Album of the Year right now because it doesn't actually exist on Album of the Year right now because it hasn't been released yet. But I'm going to go with an 85. I think that's like a fair middle ground of the glaze, but also like objectively where it's at. I think for what they're trying to achieve, this is so brutal. It's got a backbone. It's standing for something. It's got a theme behind it. It means something to them personally, and you feel it. You feel it every step of the way. Again, I haven't listened to the lyrics. I haven't delved into the lyrics. I'm sure that'll actually make it even better. And this is going to mean a lot to a lot of people. It's just, I feel like the world's a fucked up place at the moment, and this kind of music really just like, for me, stands out because it's the opposite of, or it's the exact way a lot of people feel, you know? It's the exact opposite of what is kind of rammed down your throat all day in, you know, the radio and shit like that, which is the opposite of what people feel, because people are angry at the moment. People are fucking fed up. People are sick of the cost of living. I know this has nothing to do with like the world and like general. This is a very like interpersonal message they're going with. But musically, forgetting all the lyrics and all that kind of shit, people are pissed off, man. People are fucking fed up with the world. They're fucking angry, including myself at a lot of things. And this is why this kind of shit just scratches that itch. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm just slurring my words now at this point. That was so much fun. I need to try and get some sleep. Good luck. But I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like in the video if you did enjoy. Consider supporting on Patreon. It'd be much appreciated. And yeah, go follow Boundaries. Go support their music. That was fucking insane. I hope this album gives them all the credit that they deserve. And I'm signing out. See you in the next one. Cheers.